Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
of Live,
Let
Thrive. What is up, Micah? Man.
I'm chilling. Stevie Stacks, how you doing?
Good. Check this out.
What happened?
Can you hear that?
No. Thank you.
I have to put the guitar closer, right?
Oh, you're playing your guitar?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't come through.
Been a minute. Yeah, I forgot. Back in the old days, we had to mic the guitar too, right?
Mic the guitar, yeah. But man,
anyways, yeah. Enough about that. So the intro always comes in to this Live, Let, Thrive show, episode 272 of your favorite short-term, midterm, long-term rental podcast in the world, coming at you from Fort Worth and Arlington, Texas. Micah,
what is up, man?
Yeah, full slate today, I reckon.
Yeah.
No, but the theme song always comes in, and that song is, as I said in an early episode, is from a band I was in, the Clean Beats, and so yeah, I hadn't played guitar in so long because this short-term rental crap will take over your life. Short-term, midterm rental crap. But yes, it's good to have an outlet for all that stress, and playing an instrument is really good for you. You know, it gets you thinking, it gets your helps your soul, man. So yeah, I highly suggest playing an instrument, singing, doing something creative, because it helps your life, helps your flow, helps your business, helps your family, helps everything, man. So there's my spiel today. Let's talk some short-term, midterm rental nonsense today.
Yeah, my wife plays the guitar, so yeah, that's her little piece thing in the garage to do as well.
Nice.
To it. Yeah, man. So been a busy week. Interesting week. In my world, I went to a real estate meetup this weekend, Saturday morning. It was one I usually go to. I used to go to all the time out here in Arlington. And I was just kind of really surprised, at how many people, and the topic was like owner finance, and it was a lot of people with rentals in there, right? And I was just really surprised at how many people are no longer cash flowing on their properties right now. It's like really bad, because like the whole gist of this whole meetup was like, how to get creative. And then like the guy who was running it, shout out to Joe Boston, he was like, yeah, man, he goes, man, I've been in the rental business for a long time. He goes, and people are getting in now. I'm almost like tempted to tell him, man, rentals are dead. You might as well wholesale or flip. And I talked to him about, and I presented short-term rentals at his meetup before, me and Josh did a few years back. And, I'm starting to realize people are starting to do it, but the building dependence upon it is kind of the scary thing. So it's really kind of interesting to see like where things are going in the short-term, midterm rental space, with long-term rentals being kind of a scary thing to step into for people. You know what I mean? Because one of the biggest things people always had was, well, what if I get in and people can't afford the rent? Well, now it's like, what if you get in and shit, the rent that's the market rent doesn't cover your mortgage. So now that's that problem right now, man. But yeah, it was really interesting to see that.
Oh yeah. I'm seeing it too, because like I have my partner Manu out there scouting like not arbitrages. If a good enough arbitrage comes across, yes, we'll look at it, we'll entertain it. But as far as we're looking for management clients all the time, right? He's reaching out, different cities. And this is what we're getting. We're getting someone that's interested, semi-interested, and I chat, either Manu chats with them or I chat with them, and they're like, listen, I just need to make $3,100 a month, because that's just to cover my expenses and mortgage. I would sell the thing, but it's the terrible time to sell right now. I'm not going to get what I want for it because the interest rates are so high. And I'm just stuck in this weird position. All the taxes and all the insurance has gone up like crazy. I need to make $3,100. Can you guarantee me that? And of course, we can't guarantee nobody anything, right? But we'll say we'll try our hardest to get that, and then some. but they really just want it. Well, can you rent it from me for $3,100 a month, and then you can rent it on Airbnb or whatever? And I'm like, so the prices of arbitrage, people are hip to, people are, well, that's the crazy thing, because when prices were low, people would say, screw you, I'm just going to throw a 12-month renter in there. I ain't going to mess with no Airbnb arbitrage crap, But when prices are like you said, they need to make over $3,000 a month just to freaking break even on these houses that they bought as these little cookie cutter rental houses. And then they're open to arbitrage all of a sudden. You can arbitrage it, you can flip it, slap it, rub it down. Oh no, they don't care. They just want their $3,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So I see it all over other people we're talking to. So it's a rough spot right now.
See, $3,000 a month, man. And this is another thing that maybe people want to get into, because we discussed this as well, was Section 8 rentals. So like I was looking in like Arlington, the max they'll pay on Section 8 is $3,159. You know what I mean? On a 3-bed, 2-bath. So I was like, dang, you kind of looking at that, because I have a Section 8 house, and it's been great, check money in the mail. It's mailbox money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get the mailbox money. If you have a lawn care guy that goes over there and checks on it every time mows the lawn. So that may be another thing. So I think it's like right now, I think we're in the season where you have to be a rental scientist. You got to be a rental scientist. You can even rent, but you may have to look into renting by room. You know what I mean? Go into the rent by room model. The midterm, long-term, short-term, the midterm, short-term model. But I think it's like we really have to start looking into that rental scientist type of method. You know what I mean? Because Section 8 is another good way that people don't want to do it. But I'm like, if you know how to vet, it's actually a really good way to cover your expenses, because they'll pay for a huge chunk of change for you to let a family move in. So it's really interesting, with the long-term rentals being at having a kind of stagnant point right now.
Did you see the new laws that passed recently about a month or so ago in the Texas legislature or whatever?
No, what happened?
A lot of stuff happened actually, where the main gist of it is the Texas legislature, Texas Senate, whatever, they passed these laws where the individual cities can't make up no BS laws, saying this, and this is on the heels of COVID. So remember when the local judges were fighting with Governor Abbott about, no, we're going to make people wear masks in business. And Governor Abbott was like, you don't have to wear masks in business, that blah, blah, blah. The state says no. The city says, well, this is our city. We say yes, and we have to, it was back and forth. Anyways, they made this sweeping thing where the state law trumps any law, you know what I'm saying? And so the cities are all, which is interesting to me, because allegedly if Airbnb or short-term rentals, you can rent your house however you want, 30 days or less. If the state says you can do it, technically with this new law that's being pushed through, then the cities can't say you can't do it no more. But an interesting side note on that was when you mentioned Section 8, it says that HOAs no longer have the power to discriminate as towards housing, which a lot of these HOAs made these rules. They didn't want no Section 8 people living in these high-end communities, right? So they made these rules where blah blah blah. I don't know, kind of like discriminatory rules were to keep Section 8 people out. Mm-hmm. Well, the state law, one of the side bits that passed was that HOAs can no longer discriminate who can rent these houses.
That's interesting. I wonder how to see. Texas has already been in that. Because I think there was a bill that already passed where Texas said you're allowed to short-term rent something. I don't quote me on this, but I think that's already been passed. And
the city of Austin says something like that, where HOAs couldn't say that you couldn't rent your house out for 30 days or less. That was like I remember the city of Austin passed it. I don't know if it was a statewide thing, but it limited the powers of HOAs.
Yeah, but I thought the state passed something, and then that's when everyone wanted to hop on that SB. I forgot the bill number. It was SB something that got passed at the state level where they were allowing short-term rentals, and then cities were still passing laws. I don't know. Y'all don't quote me on that, but if one of our fans knows, hit me up. It's an SB number. I'll look it up too. But supposedly that had happened before, but cities were still passing laws. So it seems like the state can only enforce what the people bring to them, is what it seems like. So it's interesting, because I'm down to go down to the state and, knock on some doors. Actually, I ain't gonna lie. this Dallas thing's been working out good for me. So they can keep it banned in Dallas. I'm not tripping on that. But yeah, I mean, but if people do, if the state has passed that, I think the people definitely need to reach out and look into getting that, removed from the city. You know what I mean? If that is passed.
Because another thing that
when did that get passed?
Oh, it was like a month or so ago. It was like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't follow the news, but a lot of the old guys at work at my day job, whatever, they'll be in the break room watching the news, and I just noticed. I was like, oh, that's interesting, huh? They're passing some, it's state versus cities now. You know what I'm saying? And cities are like, oh, that's big government, blah blah, blah whatever.
See, the funny thing is, I heard that they were. I heard the last thing I really heard down there was they were trying to stop the increase of property taxes.
I heard that too.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna get passed, but
I don't know how you're gonna do that. They make billions off that shit. Where are they gonna get the money if they do? I mean, I'm for it, but I'm not stupid. I know they're gonna try to get the money somewhere.
Income tax,
sales tax, something tax. They're gonna find a way to get their money. California tax. They just can't tax all the Californians that come here, right?
Speaking of tax, right? So, Texas is number 6 in the nation on property tax. That's crazy, right? Texas is number 6. Texas is, I think it's higher than California and higher than some spots in the East Coast. But the crazy part about that is with it being number 6 in the property tax and interest rates still going up, it's like very hard to buy here. It's just like going back to that meetup. When you buy here, you probably buy something to either live in, but having a rental, it's kind of tough down here. So I was looking. So what I think I did was I'm actually trying to pull it up. If I was to start a short-term rental business, I pulled up, it was the 10 cities I would start in. Go ahead. I'm going to pull it up for you real quick. Go ahead though.
Oh, I was going to touch on, so like we have a arbitrage in Dallas, but it's always been like a 30-day plus, you know what I'm saying? And it's in a really nice condo complex with amenities. So, it does really well for us, man. And the rent has always been reasonable. It's a mom and pop owner, so they've been cool with us as long as we pay rent on the first kind of deal. But as you know, everybody's mortgage or the insurance and the premiums and the taxes going up. So they said they want to go in a different direction on this thing. And I was like, oh, okay. But, when the lease ends, like in the end of January and coming up. And I was like, well, what are you planning on doing with it? Are you going to sell it or what's going on? And they said, well, we're going to keep it as a rental. We just need to get more cash flow. I was like, well, you're going to raise the rents? He goes, well, actually, we're thinking of doing midterm rentals. And I'm like, everybody's hearing about this. It's probably our fault too, but everybody's hearing about this magical midterm rental stuff. Thank you, Jesse Vasquez. So even people that ain't never done it before want to try it. But the good news is they are asking me, well, do you manage other people's midterm rentals? I'm like, well, yes, we do. So I might end up staying on and just managing instead of having to pay them rent and utilities. So it might work out all right, but managing their midterm rental.
I'm getting that same thing. Even when I went to that meetup, everyone wants to do midterm rentals, but I'm starting to see the misconception in it. I think people don't understand, like,
it's the hot new thing.
Huh?
The hot new thing.
It's a hot new thing, but it's always been around. It's been corporate, right? It's been under the label corporate rentals, right? So, I think this is a misconception. I don't think midterm rentals, I'm going to say in state of Texas, I'm not going to say any other, I'm going to say in the city of Dallas, I don't think midterm rentals is sustainable in that sense, because I think you're going to have those gaps where you need to fill your place with like shorter term. So whenever you're in the midterm rental strategy, to me, how it works to be most effective, you need to be in a place where you can do midterm rentals. It's an option, but you're allowed to do short term. And then you make midterm your main strategy. So that's what I do. I make midterm my main strategy, but if the short term rentals, if I have them in between guests, I can still rent short term and produce income on the property. So I think that's where people are getting misconceptions of the midterm. They're probably thinking like, oh, I can get an insurance client in here. Then I'll have another one right after that. And then I'll have a nurse. Nurses ain't paying much. Because I had some people even at the meetup were like, oh, yeah, nurses make this much. I'm like, nurses' pay took a dip after the pandemic thing ended. Like they ain't getting that moolah like they was, that those big stipends for housing and all that, that's gone. So you got to know how to pivot. So it's just like I said, you got to be a rental scientist, because depending on one type of renter or one type of income in this space, I think those days are long behind us.
So what were you looking up right now? You had me talking. Say, go ahead and talk, and you're looking something
up.
I
was saying the 10 cities I would start, like 10 states I would go to. Like if I wanted to start a short-term rental business where I was buying property, these are the 10 places I would go to, because these are, and I'll tell you what these 10 places are. Hawaii,
Mississippi. Sorry. Mississippi jumped out at me.
I would. But I wouldn't. Hawaii, Alabama, Colorado, Louisiana, DC, South Carolina, Delaware, West Virginia, Nevada, Wyoming. And on the 11th place on the list is actually Arkansas. But those are actually the 11 most places, the top 11 places with the lowest property tax in the United States. So, but if you'll notice, Hawaii's number one, but they have their average home price is like $615,000, right? That's the average home price in Hawaii. But the other places, like go look at Alabama, average home price is $142,000. Average home price $142,000. Your property taxes, your average annual property tax is $895,000. So that's why I tell people, you look at stuff like that where you're not getting just the most spectacular property, but there's still people going there, right? So then you can still, like, even like a lot of these smaller states, they outsource like all their construction work, all their electrical work for the city. They outsource it. So the people coming in need places to stay. So you have to understand models like that, and you make an extremely high amount of cash flow because those people are willing to pay $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month, and you're all in on what, $1,000 a month. You're winning all day, like in those markets like Alabama. Go ahead.
That's what always tripped me out about when I hear, I see the news and people, protesting and complaining. We can't live here. It's too high. Housing is too high. Government needs to help us in LA or Port or Seattle. Or I was like, go move to Alabama. I said, I can't afford to live in LA either, man. I gotta live in Texas. Move somewhere cheap. I don't know. I just trip out. There's plenty of places cheap to go live. You don't got to live in the most expensive place in the freaking country.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the amenities, you gotta willing to pay. I mean, you live on the coast, you're gonna pay. You know what I mean? But I'm telling, that thinking though is what most people think they need for a short-term rental. You know what I mean? I'm like, you can start one in a small city, man, where ain't none of them there. We've done it in, just think about Mansfield. It ain't too big of a city, and you wouldn't think a lot of people can put insurance claims. They need it. So, you gotta try different markets. Go to markets that have I would prefer a market with regulations. So with the places I named, states that I named, find a city that has regulations in there, because it goes back to what I was just saying, like that midterm rental conception. People think it's just midterm rentals. Like, nah, you got to sprinkle some short terms in there too. You know what I mean? To be most effective.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Because just looking at the portfolio and some of the places we're at, it's not, short term is not allowed. And it's a risk, man, because you will have some gaps, and and you don't have any way to fill those gaps. I know Jesse came on the show and said all of his houses have waiting lists and stuff like that, and so he don't have any gaps. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I think a lot of these people, like you said, you mentioned, it's the hot new thing now. A lot of people are going to get into try to get the midterms, and they're going to be stuck with these ginormous gaps because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, marketing's huge, man. Because a lot of my midterms, they come from marketing that I've gotten from short-term rental people who know someone that needs a house. You know what I mean? And just having that market base too, where you've housed a short-term rental person, it was a good experience, and they've had a long-term rental. Hey, I know someone that needs this, and you're constantly emailing them. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. I think it's a lot that goes into this business, right? It's just a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot, and it's luckily we don't have a lot of gaps with our midterm stays. We don't have very many at all. because we are proactive. We're hitting the concrete, going out there and putting our name out there, and people know us, and they're always asking us constantly, do you have a spot? You have a spot here, you have a spot here. And we do have it. We're like, okay, it's gonna be one coming up in 7 days, it's gonna be one coming up in 14 days. They really want to, these insurance companies, they want to move ASAP. They need something now. So what we've been luckily, we have over 50 units, right? So we've been able to put someone like in a week at one of our other places and say, okay, after that week is up, we'll transfer you to that one, for the rest of the 3 month stay. So we're flexible that way because we have a lot of properties, right? And something else came up too, because I know Federico, been on the show. He said to him midterm rentals was getting midterm stays on Airbnb. Now that's cool if you can get a huge amount, The only problem with that is you might end up getting a gap. Like if you have the calendar open a couple months out, someone books at the end of the month on this one, you might have a huge gaping gap because technically you can't rent under 30 days at this spot, right? So another thing we've been able to do is we get interest from people that some of our places are booked up. You've been hit up on Airbnb before, say, hey, I want to really rent it for this this week, but you're only available these 2 days. Are you gonna, it's not available on Airbnb, but a lot of these people that reach out don't understand that. But like I said, we'll try to throw them into one of these places that there's some gaps, and I know it's under 30 days, but if it's long enough, chill out, go stay there, it's all good.
Long enough to where it looks like they're there for a long time.
Yeah, don't go, I'm in Airbnb, don't do nothing stupid. And then so luckily we don't have very many gaps. I'm not saying I do love the option to rent short term to fill the gaps, but luckily we don't. And be careful if you're relying on Airbnb to be your midterm place to find people, because they could book 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in advance and really screw it up for you, because you'll have like a 2 or 3 week gap in the middle. So Airbnb's cool and all, but it's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous for that. And then also, that's what you're saying is also the reason why Airbnb's charging for cancellations, right? Because people will do that. I've done it, canceled someone so I can get a long-term reservation in there, so I can get like an insurance client in there. I'm like, oh yeah, Airbnb, go to the curb. And I think, and Airbnb's caught on to it. They know that people are doing midterm stays and they rather take the midterm money than the short term. You know what I mean?
They could, what are they saying? $1,000 fines for people canceling on people?
Yeah, they are charging, I think, up to $1,000 to cancel. So I don't know what the stipulation is to get up to that 1,000. I'm assuming somebody probably had to book like a high end weekend or something, but yeah, they are charging for cancellations up to $1,000. But people wanting that midterm money, like you said, somebody will hit you up and be like, oh, well, is this available? Or if you have someone who comes to views the property and you're telling them it ain't available till next week, but they like, I need to move in tomorrow, and you have a check-in, you're like, gotta go for the weekend. You know what I mean? So, it has happened, so, and also you see these pricing people like, Price Labs. I went and looked at Price Labs. Like you said, they're getting into the midterm pricing structure. Airbnb's kind of already gone into the midterm thing, but I know they're going heavy into rooms. So the midterm thing, you're right. It's the fancy new thing that's out right now. You know what I mean? Everyone wants in.
Yeah, if you get stuck with some of those stays you don't know how to cancel, hit up Stevie Stacks. I got you. I got you.
And I'm happy you bring that up. And that's the importance of a community, right? So if you ain't got it and you can refer it out to somebody, matter of fact, join the Dallas midterm rental community. Good community to be a part of, but you have to be a part of communities like that. So then, like, matter of fact, a friend of the show just hit me up for a place in Arkansas. He has an insurance client that's booking long term. He's like, hey man, can I just move him to your spot? I was like, cool, so it makes it easy. That's why, he wins and I win. You know what I mean? He gets to keep his long-term person. Then I'm going to get his other guest who he can't house. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, man. The community really helps. Because especially, join that Dallas midterm Facebook group, man. I'm glad Mikey Brown had the insight, the foresight to create that right as the band is coming, because he knows, and we're getting a lot of people on there, man. So and so there's our buddies are putting on there all the time. We need a place here, we need a place there, you know. They got 10 cats and 10 kids, but we need a
yeah, it's coming. I mean,
it's pets, man. I mean, that's the only thing. I can't believe there's still people that are doing midterm that not allowing pets. I mean, that you're taking away 90% of your business, because midterm is primarily for these insurance claims, these stays like that, and it's families, you know, and for a house anyways, and you're not allowing pets. Dude, every family has some kind of freaking pet.
Yeah. And I think, you know, and yeah, you got to be pet friendly when
they're like, but what about the furniture? There's a charge. You can charge a premium, man. You can charge $100 pet rent on that pet a month or more, and you could charge $250 or $500 non-refundable deposit. You could charge another $500. I mean, see, my buddy Shannon, he's been at the meetups before, and the force is strong with that one, because he's, you know, I told him about these fees, but he's pushing the envelope on these fees. I'm like, holy crap, you're asking for all that? Yeah, I don't want no damn pets ruining my place. I'm gonna get some money. And so he's charging a lot for these pet rents and non-refundable pet whatever deposits and pet deposits on top of that. And they're paying that shit, dude, because they don't have any other choice. You know, they need a place to allow these pets.
Yeah, and I've always told people, if you look at the price, what you have to do is, like, if you want to look at like what to charge for a pet fee, because I charge a pet fee, go find out what local, like wherever they're coming from, find out what local boarding costs for their dog. I guarantee you ain't going to be charging what they're charging, or you can charge half of that and you're going to be making a hefty chunk of change. Because to board a pet, man, that's a lot of money involved in that, especially if the bigger it is and everything, bigger the dog is or cat is or whatever it is. No, you can make a lot of money in that. But I do the pet fee. And then as far as like the cleaning and stuff, if they leave any pet hair, we send an extra cleaning fee charge. So, hey, you're going to pay on top of that. And if there's any pet hair or anything like that, the pet was in the bed, anything like that, yeah, we charge an extra for that as well.
And one of the biggest reasons to not accept book midterm stays from Airbnb, I mean, yeah, like I said, if you're going to make an astronomical amount, that's fine. But one of the biggest reasons to deal directly as much as you can and get all your midterm stays directly is the utility caps, because someone can book, you know, $4,000 a month stay at an Airbnb, whatever, and then they'll be spending like $1,000 on your electricity, water, gas, whatever, and you'll be losing money on that stay. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you have those caps in place and you have a direct booking with the lease in place, you get that money back.
Man, bro, we had this lady rack up a $600 electric bill, $500 water bill, and happy we sent that shit to ALE and they paid it out, because that is ridiculous. That's like no self-awareness. Like, if you have a $600, like, I'm like, that's why I don't like Airbnb guests either, because if that was on Airbnb, we'd have been screwed. We would have had the whole hold the bag. But luckily it was through like an insurance, and we put everything at $100. They cashed us out like, and it had been a few months, and we had forgot to send ALE the paperwork, man. They cashed us out $2,300 for, and this was in a 3-month span. Cash us out that much in utilities. I was like, bro, these people in there, and they're still using up that much electric in there. They don't give a damn. They must got some money or something, because well, you know, but I guess they ain't paying rent. You know what I mean? The insurance is paying the rent, but damn, bro, I ain't no way I'm staying out of place paying $2,000 something in utilities. But yeah, that cap is huge. That cap really helps you. If you put that cap on there, that's really good, like especially on the midterm stay going direct.
So they're probably mining Bitcoin there, and then they got the water hose going to cool down the batteries from the mining. I don't know.
These folks so my boy hit me up. We found out these people are older, they're retired, and they have a maid living there. So they got some money. They got like an in-house maid, and they're just at home all day. You know what I mean? They don't really leave. So I was like, bro, what the hell? But yeah, man.
I remember hearing those stories back with the Bitcoin craze, and where individuals could still kind of mine Bitcoin at home if they had the right stuff. Right now, it's impossible. But people were like, "Oh, I got $1,000 electric bill. They're mining Bitcoin at my house or in my apartment."
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, man. That is one good thing about being off. That's a really good one. That's a really good thing about being off the platform. Because I'm you guys know me, who's listened to the podcast. I'm not a fan of Airbnb, but there's pros and cons to being on and off of it. But that's one of the biggest pros is being able to charge for shit like that. And I wonder if Airbnb will eventually get into that. It's just something for them to think about.
Into what?
Like charging people for utility caps. Because if they want to get into that midterm space, that's one of the biggest things.
Airbnb they ain't about that life.
I don't think so either. It'd be interesting, like to see, because right now it seems like they're having to make their money up, like off charging hosts for stuff. Like, hey, let's charge them if they cancel, or let's charge them if this. It'd be interesting to see if they're like, hey, this property has a $100 utility cap if you're staying for a month. Let's see how it work out for them.
Now, how often do you go through all your expenses and try to trim the fat?
I try to do it quarterly. Well, I do it quarterly, but I try to do it a little bit more often than that. Yeah, okay. Quarterly, when I have my sit down with my CPA, we try to see where we can cut fat, what units aren't performing. We're giving these Dallas units a little bit more thread. They're doing really good right now, but I told them I'm trying to transition out of arbitrage.
Yeah, okay. Because it's very important, man. Because like, especially when you get, like I said, over 50 units, and you start forgetting to look at the utilities or forgetting to look at the internets, because you got all these internets everywhere, right? And so some, the everybody knows there's two companies over here in Texas, Spectrum and AT&T Internet, right? That's all you get, two choices. And so if you're on one, they'll start you off with an introductory $50 a month rate, and then back when it was your own home, you'll notice the bill jumped up to like $80-something. You're like, holy crap! You call them, and then they don't usually let you lower it because you're an existing customer. Then you bounce over to AT&T and then get their introductory rate for whatever a year. And you can play that game with one house at your house, but once you start getting up multiple units, you start forgetting, and you start having like $85 internet bills all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Because they just gradually. No, do you do a internet business account?
You do a business account. I'm only paying like $60 for all mine, high speed through AT&T. Yeah, get a business account. If you get a business account, they put it all under one. Then they give you a flat rate because you're under a business account. So I'm paying like $60 for internet. Yeah, don't ever. Yeah, that's another thing. How you brought that up? Make sure you put everything as a business. Everything is a business.
And why is that?
Just like I just said, you can get a business account. So when you have a business account, they'll give you a rep, right? So my rep is Meredith. We just hit Meredith up. Hey, we need AT&T at this address. Can you tell me the speeds and the rates of the address of this? Like if we're setting up 10 more units, she can give me a rate of 10 units at this apartment complex. So yeah, if you get an AT&T rep, man, from a business rep, man, it helps you way better. Way better.
How many units do you have to get a business account?
That I don't know. I walked in with 15.
Okay, so you have,
and then I'm down to 5 though. I only use it for. No, I don't. I use it for even my ones in Arkansas. So we're up to like 9 or 10. So yeah, you can still have it there as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and they never go up on you. It just stays 60 all the time.
Stays the same, man. Yeah, you gotta get you a business rep. And they'll hook you up. I had one named Meredith. She was hooking me up for a long time. She still hooks us up.
Because I know we have a client that she did that at one of her complexes where she grabbed a bunch of units, right?
Mm-hmm.
She did like a business account. And then all of a sudden we got all these complaints from people staying there. Hey, I can't get into Netflix. I can't get into YouTube. I can't get into anything. What's going on? And so what happened was, since it was a business account, I guess it came with all these presets because like they think you're at a business and you don't want your employees hopping on all these certain websites, or something happened where they couldn't get on all these, they couldn't get on, like I said, Netflix, YouTube, Hulu's, all this stuff, because it's a business account set up in a business way, right? It's just for business. But they were able to, get all those, what are the firewalls or all those things removed so they could the customers, so the guests could enjoy those things. But that's what that's a weird thing.
Weird. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, the only people who'd be setting that up is you. Yeah, business account. It's just like having a regular AT&T box. Same thing. It's just they know you're under a business and they're willing to, especially once you have multiple accounts with them and a business rep. Yeah, definitely look into it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely need to do that.
Yeah, man. But it's a lot going on right now in the short-term rental space. I'm actually looking to start managing a few properties up in the Plano, Frisco, Little Elm area. I'm seeing that's where most of the cash flow problems are up north, and also the biggest short-term and mid-term rental returns are as well. So I've been talking to a few people up there. They're like, I even talked to a few people who have short-term rentals up in Frisco. They just don't want to manage. But, so I'm like, oh, I can take those on for you because I do want to look in that area because, I mean, that's where everybody's going, right? Frisco is one of the top fastest growing cities in the U.S. So, I mean, I'm looking at that area for management anyway. And then I'm looking to buy if it's sub-2 or owner finance. But, that's what's been going on with trying to grow. Are there any particular areas you're looking at as far as growth in the DFW? Like growing your portfolio?
The usual suspects. I don't want to give too much away because then everybody goes there, right?
But I ain't gonna go
there. An interesting play. One thing that's always stood out as an interesting play because we always talk about Grand Prairie, Fort Worth, mid cities, but Irving, man, that's a compelling one because it's in a good spot, right? I don't know why no one ever considers a good short term. The thing is with Irving, the south part is a little rough around the edges, right? But it's the prime location right off the freeway, right in between Fort Worth and Dallas. I think Irving is a good play. So I've been scouting it out a little bit. Now, you said North Dallas. I know Mike Brown's always big on North Dallas, right? And North Dallas, Plano, Frisco, all that stuff. He's always big on that area. And so are you looking to arbitrage out there, or are you trying to be a management over there?
I'll just manage over there. Manage and buy. My whole strategy now is manage and buy.
Okay. Because it's expensive to buy over there, right?
Yeah, unless you buy right. Gotta buy right. That's what the game is.
You still big on the sub-2 game?
Yeah, if I can get a sub-2, because like right now, the lady I was talking to today, she's a lender. She's not only a lender, but she's also an investor. And that's what we were talking about. She was like, hey, if you need something to sub-2 up here, I'll definitely be looking out. So I was like, cool, man. So I'm definitely looking at that play. And then just honestly looking at, if I can get something under management up there too, because of the high income up there, you know what I mean? So,
what's so funny is, okay, way back in the day, like I said, we've been at this for 7 years now, as far as short-term renting stuff, 6-7 years. But back when I was house shopping, before I even did an Airbnb, or a short-term rental, and shout out to Khan, he came out, Khan Boon me. He was my agent back then. Yeah. And he and I was like, dude, okay, this is a cool house and it's close to the stadium, so I think it'll be a good Airbnb. And he's like, man, you kids with your Airbnb talk, I was touring another girl the other day. A girl, is she talking about this would be a good Airbnb? Why are y'all doing Airbnb? Just make it a regular rental property and call it a day. And finally he started changing his tune after he saw this, money we were making on Airbnb, and Khan himself started doing Airbnbs. And so it's so funny. And went even up into this past year, I was touring some homes and talking to these agents about subject to, right? And all of them were like, subject, you can't do that. That's illegal, Are you talking about a rap? It's like, well, this is what happens. You can't. That's just, we go. My mortgage company or our company wouldn't let us do that, and it just but now. Agents, they're hungry out there. All these agents, man. So I feel bad for them because it was like hand over fist for a while, and everybody became an agent. Everybody and their mama became an agent, and then now there's not a lot of business for them because of the way that the housing market shifted. But a lot of them are talking about, hey, hey, sub 2 over here. Hey, owner finance over here. Come on, we get you in this house. Hey, all this creative stuff that they were like mocking us about, when we were talking about doing this. It's the same thing as the short-term rentals was to them. Now they're getting hip to the subject to and owner financing game.
Yeah, it's becoming big now. Yeah, because even that meetup I was at, like one lady, I got a good connection there. She does owner finance as her exit. So she owner finances to get out of the property. I was like, well, let me get in contact with you because I'll buy some of your owner finance deals, right? She's like, oh, okay. And then like we started talking about the short-term rental thing. She was talking about, I like that, and we was talking about how it can help her out. But yeah, so it was it's definitely starting to change its tune. Everything changes its tune how the market adjusts, right? Everything changes its tune. So you got to just really, that's why it's very important to pay attention to the market, and the market changes. Because right now, buying creative is almost, especially in Texas, is the only way to cash flow. Because I still bought creative in Arkansas, but I got a 7% interest rate, but I can still cash flow because of how low the property taxes are. So yeah, that tune changes to how the market shifts, right? So I'm interested to see how everything's going to go, because they are saying interest rates are supposed to fall Q3 2024. So I want to see how that plays out. They think it's supposed to go through one more bump, I believe. So you might get up to 8%. So we'll see how that works out.
It's crazy, man. And so many people talk about, back in the day it was like upwards to 12%. Yeah, but the houses was like $20,000 you could buy a house back then. Now the houses are I never thought in like this neighborhood where I'm at, like a regular house is 400,000. I was like, how the hell did that happen, man?
But that's all that goes back into what we've always said, man. You just got to buy right. You got to buy now. Buy now, man. Like seriously, because now that house is like 400-something thousand. But look at what's going on. Look at how much you spent for that house. Probably doubled. You know what I'm saying? Doubled in value, or at least done at least $100,000 in value. Because like living here, bought my house in 2015. When I looked at how much equity I have, I was like, damn, this is how wealth is built in America. For real, man. I'm like, damn. But it just shows you, man, when you buy now and quit listening to the naysayers, it pays off in 10 years. This ain't a get rich quick game. It's a get rich slow, but it's worth it. Once you've owned a house for 10 years, you start seeing those benefits.
Yeah, I remember back in the early episodes, you were talking about selling your house, and then because you said, wow, it's gone up so much, and now it's probably double since then. But years like, man, it's gone up so much, I'll just sell it. And we'll get us you wanted to get you like a luxury place in Arlington or something, like a luxury condo in Arlington or some shit like that.
Did I?
You're talking. I remember off of Lamar, they had some luxury spots. I don't know. You were telling me about this.
Oh no, probably.
It might have been to rent it. I don't know.
Also, yeah, probably to rent it. But I also want to talk about what you said about Ken and him. That's also goes back into the power of ownership, right? So he owned all those properties. And that's why I tell people, if you own, you have all the advantage in the world. He had all these people coming up to him trying to arbitrage him. It's like, man, hell no, I'm not going to arbitrage. I just want a long-term rental. He changed his tune, but he had the power to change his tune and be in full control because he owned it. He could just flip it to a short-term rental or flip it back to long-term. That's why I tell people, I also want to really push across the power of ownership, man. There's so much power in being an owner, and I think that's a lot of times it's been overlooked, and then now it's hard to be an owner because it's hard to get in. But just wanted to put that out there about your story, man. That's just the power of ownership right there.
Yeah. And Khan also did a thing where he would move every 2 years. He would buy a house in a decent area, nice area.
Yeah.
And that needed a lot of work. And for those 2 years, he would, have his guys fixing it up, making it look beautiful. And then he'd sell it and make like 50 to 100 grand, cash money that wasn't tax-free cash money. Because if you live in a house for 2 years out of 5 years, out of a 5-year window, if you live there 2 years, you could sell it and you don't have to pay any capital gains at all. So every 2 years he was moving And so luckily he had a wife and a kiddo that was understanding. Well, it was homeschool, so I mean, they didn't really affect the school wise, but the wife was cool with it. And I said, well, how do you get your wife to agree to something like that? He goes, well, I just get her the next house has to be a badass house, something that she's gonna like.
Oh man, that's the way to do it.
And so yeah, he every 2 years he'd hop around and get that big chunk of tax-free money. You might be making 100K at your job, but Uncle Sam's taking 50. You know what I'm saying? They're taking half that, close to it. But he makes 100K flipping a house after 2 years. That's all his money.
Right up. Yeah, that was a very powerful play he was doing, man. Taking the house, get 100K tax-free, move on to the next. That's crazy, man. If I was back then, I wish I would have done that. Moved out of this house, got another one, moved on. Yeah, that was a nice way to house hack. And he's taking, like, he ain't got to use all this cash on the down payment. Back then, he especially didn't. So yeah, that is a way. You can still do it today. You can still do that today. Put down 3.5% on the next one, and that's a good thing that you forgot. He was only putting down what 3.5%, 5% on the next house.
Oh yeah, he put down as little as possible to get the next house, and yeah, and the PMI didn't really bother him too much. He's going to sell it 2 years anyways. You know what I'm saying? It's
crazy. Yeah, I mean, and I'm happy you brought that up, man. That's always like in the last 8 years, I used to always tell people I never cared about PMI because I'm like, everything's going up right now. Why would you care about PMI? Your PMI will probably be knocked off in a year and a half in testing. Why are you worried about it? People are like, I don't want to pay PMI. I'm like, just refinance it in a year, get it knocked off. Like I guess people didn't really understand that, but yeah, that's what I did with my house. I actually refinanced it to a lower interest rate. So yeah, I'm happy. You know, we're talking about a lot of ownership stuff today. So if people are looking to own, yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know if you want to pay PMI now, but back then we didn't give a damn about PMI at all.
Oh damn. Yeah, so oh shit.
What was that?
All these emergencies are happening right now, man. A possible gas leak at one of the places. Holy crap.
Damn, man.
It's happening live on air. A gas leak at a place in Houston.
That ain't good, man. That's might want to get the gas company over there to turn that off. I had a gas leak in my house before. Had to evacuate for 24 hours. Actually, the damn roofing company put holes in all my gas lines, so I know how that is.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's it's always something going on with rentals, but you know, gotta have a team. See, got a good team set up, you can run it.
Yeah, keep talking, man. I'm gonna text this problem out to my team to have them fix this for me.
Yeah, but that was a rough time for me. So I had to get a new roof put on and the gas leaks broke. So I ended up having to go stay in a hotel. All my Airbnbs were booked, so I couldn't really go to one of my short-term rentals. And I think I had just sold my condo, so I was like, had to go stay in a hotel for a couple of days. So I know how that is with gas leaks. But yeah, first thing you want to do is get the gas turned off in the house because it can lead to some big problems.
You could go kaboom.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thing y'all ain't smokers. I mean, cigarette smokers.
For any type of smokers. Lighten it up. Bo boom.
That's some scary stuff. Yeah, man, it's so wild. The way this market has shifted, and but there's opportunities, man. And like I said, I tell my friends, it's all or people that have been scared to get into real estate since I started. You know, they say it's risky. You know, oh, there's the houses prices are so high. They said that 6-7 years ago how ridiculous the prices were.
Yeah,
and but I mean, even if here's the thing, you might not love it, but I mean, you might as well get you one rental every couple years. I think it's a good way to fight inflation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some times when everything goes wrong at once. You know, when you have a lot of units, when you have a lot of rental properties. This summer, when every freaking AC went out, and I was out thousands and thousands of dollars, and Home Shield wouldn't have fixed them anyway. So we already went over that. There's times when it just a lot of things can go wrong, and just, but you hang in there, and you keep going, and don't bite off too much. I mean, you might get tempted when times are really good. Be careful too. Don't bite off more than you can chew, right? And you gotta be wary of the good times too, because the music will stop, and then what? You got a bunch of properties that you got to fill, and you got to fill them at a super high rate. Otherwise, you're not going to make any money or lose money, Yeah. And now there's nothing wrong with breaking even if it's a long play. That's fine. But like I said, just do what you're comfortable with doing. Don't overextend yourself. Don't get into too much debt, and don't get into a stressful situation that just keeps compounding and compounding. I like how you said it. You want a certain amount of paid off houses, and then you're going to be sitting pretty. Because I always look at all these rents that come in every month. I was like, man, imagine if these houses were paid off. I'd be making, like, even just the regular rentals. I'd be making $2,000 a month on 5 different houses. That's $10,000 a month, not tax free, but just clearing free money instead of having to pay.
Tax free. You'd appreciate that shit.
Well, there you go. There you go. But, like, it's just good money on something that's already paid off. That's a beautiful thing, and so, yeah. But if you're always leveraged as highly as you can be leveraged, you're not going to realize that, right? Maybe it's But I mean, if you're comfortable with that, you can do that too.
And that's why business. I think you talked about business risk in there, because you got to know your risk level, and then just having a business plan, right? Like, what's your plan and your end goal? Find your end goal first, and then work backwards. Is how I look at it. So then you can, be very clear on what you're trying to do. Because getting up to your eyeballs and debt. I mean, if you're comfortable with that, cool. And I also tell people, if you don't have any kids, you're single, no kids, then you can run it and do that. But if you have kids, you got to be kind of careful. You know what I mean? Have a nest egg, keep your family straight. But man, definitely don't go all the way in on debt if you don't have to. Have some equities built up somewhere. That's why I always encourage. That's why I'm actually don't really encourage arbitrage. I'm really on the buying ownership and management. So just be careful with it. Because remember, no debt is good debt. It's either leveraged debt or non-leveraged debt.
So what else is going on in your world, man? Besides this stuff.
That's about it, man. Just trying to get some more units under management. Trying to find out where I can get going and start buying. But this market's just crazy, man. This market's just crazy.
And how about the search for the salon suites? How's that going?
Oh, that's still going. Mahogany, and shout out to Elke and Noble. They had their 29th anniversary today. Elke and Mahogany are on that really tough, trying to get that going, get the salon suites up. So that's about it, man. They're still searching, trying to find a building, because one thing I will tell you about commercial, man, they are hurting. They'll throw deals at you left and right. They're hurting. So that's a market I would try to tap into if you know something that's going to make some money off of it. Because, commercial buildings are hurting. Now, even if you could make a commercial building and turn it into like a corporate stay, I don't know what you could do. But if you can do it, commercial's hurting right now.
Pause 1 second. I'm trying to get this.
Oh man, got to get your Slack.
Well, there's the thing. It's my team. Okay, here we go. She's just freaking out. I know it's an important thing, but a gas leak is an important thing.
What's your issue you're going through? This is a good learning lesson for everyone.
But usually my team's on top of it. Here we go.
Okay, and who's texting you?
Okay, finally the team answered her, but she's like putting 100 messages, and they answering her now. I'm just saying that it's like,
was it the owner or the cleaner?
Well, it's my partner over there, Marty. She's in Houston, and she's she knows the owner of the place that we're arbitraging, right?
Okay.
And the owner's talking about a possible gas leak, or the cleaners reported a possible gas leak. And now what's happened before, and like I said, I'm trying to do a podcast here, but getting a million messages. What's happened before in the past, we've had guests leave the burners on the stove, right? They leave them on. There's no fire, but they leave it on, and the house smells like gas. And so the cleaners reported a gas smell, and then she's freaking out, possible gas leak. But yeah. But anyways, there's like 100 messages rolling across. She's freaking out, calling me, blowing me up, and my team is trying to answer her, and they'll handle it. They'll tell the guest, they'll do what they do. I don't handle any of that shit. But it is an important issue, of course. Gas leaks very important. But so my partner, my friend Marty is really freaking out right now. We'll get it sorted, and the team's on it, thank goodness. But I'm just trying to, hey, okay, hold on, they're gonna get this. So learning experience. I do have my team in place, and they'll handle situations like that. But sometimes, like you said, well, it could be an owner that's blowing you up too, because I mean, no matter how tight your team is, sometimes the owner will go straight at you if it's something they think is like the end of the world type shit. Owner or owner or client or whatever.
One thing that's all basically is a damn owner. She's friends with the owner, right? So she got to look out for her friend. But that actually brings me to a very important talk, because I've heard people talk about this. Do you target places that don't have gas, where everything's all electric?
I prefer all electric. Yeah,
because that's a huge liability that I didn't really think about. But yeah, that's a huge liability, man. I prefer electric too, because damn, especially like up in the Midwest with these houses blowing up all of a sudden. It's been going crazy. So yeah, I would definitely, if you do have like a house that you're looking at to turn to a short-term rental, definitely see if you can get all electric in there. They may run out of hot water, but they won't go boom.
They won't go boom. If you learn anything from this podcast, learn how not to blow up your guests. You don't want them to go boom. Or you'll have to fold that LLC.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, so no, I remember a long time ago at my Hearst house, because that was an Airbnb, but then the little city of Hearst banned Airbnb because they followed Arlington's suit, little overnight kangaroo court banning of Airbnb. What? When did that happen? I didn't hear that, whatever. There was just a lot of that going on back then. And I had to turn it into a regular rental long term. And this one older lady went in there, and she's like, she really liked the place and everything, but she's like, "Oh, you got gas here?" It's like, "Yeah, it's gas, older house, got gas." "Oh, I'm terrified of gas. I can't stay here because I'm just afraid, it's gonna blow up, or it's gonna go, have a leak, and I'm gonna die." And it's like, oh shit, I never even thought of that stuff. I said, we got a CO, we got one of those monitors, CO2, CO whatever. No, she was just mortified of a house with gas. So like, all right, cool. But she had, oh man, it's funny because back then money, like 6-7 years ago, 80,000 a year was pretty good money, right? Mm-hmm. And now you get that at Hobby Lobby, but you get, back then it was good money. And she was like working like an assistant to some judge or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. She's making good money, just her by herself, older white lady. And then I looked at her credit. She had like a 400 credit score, and I was like, what the? She couldn't pay anything on time. Nothing. She never made one payment on time. And not like she had a bunch of shit, but she had these old credit cards that she just never paid on time or let them go to the wayside. And then I called the previous landlord, which was a rental agency, was managing a house for somebody, and said, well, she pays every month, but she pays like around the 10th or 11th, or she's always late, but she pays every time. And I was like, this is weird. How could she not? I didn't understand it, man. How could she have such jacked up credit? She just didn't pay her shit on time. She couldn't do it for some reason.
Had a hood mentality, man. At that trailer park credit.
I know. I don't understand it, man. I was like, she had a high priority job and nice paying job, her alone.
High priority job. Her bills didn't have no priority.
I didn't know a credit score went that low, but she just could not pay anything on time. It's so weird, man.
Oh, instead of 400, damn.
I mean, the little bitty credit card is $2 or $3 grand or $4. I mean, the little bitty ones that you just let them wreck your credit, man. It's so crazy.
She was living her best life, man. Oh, man. Man.
But she was terrified of gas, man.
Man. So if you guys have learned anything from this episode, keep your credit up and gas won't kill you.
Yeah, well, gas will kill you.
It will kill you. Yeah.
It will kill you. Oh, man. So, crazy to see. It's always something, right? It's always something.
Always.
I I don't know why I had my phone. I usually put it on focus or whatever. I just had it right here by my side, and it's just been going off. I have a cleaner of ours is putting together an arbitrage in Fort Worth, and man. I guess she saw a good deal on these bar stools or something. She's blowing me up, calling, what the hell you want? And she needs some money to buy those bar stools because got a good deal on them. They're really nice, but it's like do a quick Zelle while we're recording a podcast real quick because she had to have it every day. Oh man, it's a fun, exciting world. Going back, go over your expenses. Set a date. Do it once a month, once every couple months. Well, probably once every 2 or 3 months is fine because you'll start forgetting about things. I canceled some subscriptions I had that I didn't even use or open or look at. God, man, people, life just sneaks up on you, man. It starts putting you get all these things that you signed up for, a free month here, a free month there. I don't do that crap no more because they'll get you, man.
Yeah, what I do is if I do a free month, I just cancel it the same day. So I'll just get to 30 days and boom, it's canceled the same day. So then the next month they won't even charge you for it.
Damn, that's a clever move right there, man.
Yeah, I always cancel it the same day. But yeah, man, it's just a lot. It's a lot. Definitely go over your expenses. I go over mine with my CPA every 3 months. So then, yeah, if you go over every 3 months, because I pay my taxes quarterly. So when you pay your taxes quarterly, you'll just know, hey, if you didn't make any profit this quarter, don't pay any taxes. If you made profit, pay your taxes on the profit. You know what I mean? And then you can go over all your expenses. And if you want your profit to go up, you see where you need to cut. So yeah, every 3 months is good.
But how do you pay your taxes quarterly?
Just send the IRS your tax payment with your number. You don't have a CPA?
Well, yeah, we just got one this past year.
Yeah,
so quarterly is the way to go.
Yeah, they should be having you pay your taxes quarterly. I thought you were using profit first, man.
I haven't used it yet. You like that?
Get you a damn CPA, man. You ain't got no CPA, bro.
I got one now, Larry. Shout out to Larry Weinstein. He's my CPA now. How
long Larry been doing it?
No, well, he's been in the industry for like 30 years or so. He's been doing it for a while. How long has he been
your CPA?
Just like, the last couple months.
Oh, you just got no CPA. You just starting out, man. Yeah, you pay it quarterly. Yeah, we pay ours quarterly. We do a quarterly tax payment. And that's why the profit first is so important. So when you stack your tax payment up, you pay it. And if you have extra money left in your tax pot, you just put it as a distribution to yourself.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes, sir.
So no big surprise tax bill at the end of the year.
Yeah. That's sure.
Cool. And so every CPA has their clients paying quarterly?
I don't know about every, but I have mine doing it. But I use the profit first mechanism.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, cool, brother. This has been a good show. Interesting show, with a little bit of freestyle going on, but we talked about some cool stuff. You got anything to add?
Man, that is
Money, Micah.
Man, we got some good stuff coming up.
Halloween bash coming up.
Yeah, I think we're having we are having a Halloween bash. We got to get in touch on that so I can get full details. The Halloween bash, we got a lot of stuff coming. Y'all remember, hit that subscribe button, make sure you're on our email list. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. And thank y'all for continuing to be listeners, man.
Cool. See y'all later. Peace.
We are out. Also, remember to send us an email. info@liveletthrive.com. Micah at liveletthrive.com. Steve at liveletthrive.com. We are out.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.